Well, some good news for once, ladies and gentlemen. Highlander, the reboot. Yeah, Highlander Reboot, which was going to be starring Henry Cavill, with Chad Stahelski as the director, is now officially moving forwards. We hadn't actually heard much about this for some time, and it sort of fallen by the wayside. Wasn't really much movement on this, but this is fantastic news. I couldn't think of a better director to work on this. Chad Stahelski, yeah, absolutely brilliant. I genuinely don't know of another director I would want to be working on this. I think with the action that you'd have, I mean, maybe someone that deals with more, well, I guess sort of martial arts, maybe, but they incorporate quite a lot of that in their work anyway. So I think as a director, Chad Stahelski's great. I think Henry Cavill as the Highlander, brilliant as well, quite frankly. So good news for a change, ladies and gentlemen, and really good sort of move for Henry Cavill as well. Not quite like breaking the mold for him, but I still think this is a really, really good movie for him to star in. So let's take a look at this report. It was way back in 2021 when we learned that Henry Cavill was going to be starring in the Highlander movie. So this is one of those things that's long been in the works. They probably announced it previous to getting any form of security around it anyway. Now, Highlander is a really good movie, don't get me wrong. It definitely jumped the shark at a certain point. But the first Highlander with the Kurgan, there can be only one, great movie. Very, very good movie. It's so good. But yeah, it definitely jumped the shark. Franchise itself has been dead for a very long time. A very, very long time. However, The Witcher, as this article says, has given the British actor, Henry Cavill, a solid footing in the fantasy realm, and fans started getting excited about seeing him pick up where Christopher Lambert left off. And that is true. I think a lot of people were very excited when this was announced, and then it just all sort of fell by the wayside. Now, there was a previous update to this, and it was said that John Wick director Chad Stahelski had remained attached to helm the movie itself, and it was going to serve as a modern retelling, kind of Conor McLeod's centuries-old feud with fellow immortals. And they'd also said it was going to serve essentially as a reboot of, well, kind of a prequel / reboot of everything. So it was going to be the movie. It was going to be, I think they even said something about the TV show. It was going to incorporate everything in there. Yeah, it was going to be a sort of a mix mash of everything, which I quite like that idea. But it wasn't going to necessarily be a straight up remake either. So they were going to try to incorporate everything from the lore in one movie, which I think is a great idea. But obviously, I think definitely get away from, jumping the shark stuff, because that definitely went off the rails. Now, obviously, they're fighting to the death to absorb each other's powers, because there can be only one, apparently. I love it. Anyway, so Deadline, yesterday, was reporting that it's all a go, basically. It's all a go. Heads to AFM to enliven a strike-hit market. So I don't know whether this is because Henry Cavill might be an equity actor. So if you don't know, Equity is the UK arm of SAG. And over here, the Equity, the courts have deemed that it's illegal to strike. So there's no sanctioned strikes over here. If they do strike, they can lose all of their roles. Legally. They're legally allowed to be fired. So let's look at Deadline's report. Right, so in the world of Highlander reboots, there can still be only one. And it's a good one at that. And this is a great idea, like I said. So for the first time, Lionsgate will be launching sales at the AFM on their long gestating fantasy reboot, which has Henry Cavill aboard to star as the eponymous Scottish swordsman and John Wick filmmaker Chad Stahelski set to direct. Now this is interesting, right? We do get a budget approach to this. We hear that the movie will be big budgeted. A big budget proposition, north of $100 million. You could do a lot with $100 million with this. Oh, a hell of a lot. Now, I do think, actually, it's important to note in terms of what Stahelski's done with John Wick on tiny budgets. sub $100 million budgets, right? So if you're looking at Highlander and going, oh yeah, well, you know, over $100 million, it sounds about right. Pair that with what you know of John Wick, how good those movies look, and how tiny their budgets are. How absolutely minuscule their budgets are. Like I said, sub $100 million. So Stileski given over $100 million to make a Highlander movie, I think would be absolutely incredible. Genuinely, absolutely incredible. Now, Stileski himself has previously talked about it as akin to John Wick with swords, which I think would be absolutely amazing. So, yeah, great. Now, also to note is they're looking to start in 2024. Start filming. So, I think that does go hand in hand with they're able to sort of, you know, just move straight ahead because they're using equity actors. So this will be a welcome news for AFM buyers whose pool of pre-sales projects has been diminished by the ongoing strike. So the new movie will be based on the 1986 original, which starred Christopher Lambert, Sean Connery and Clancy Brown as immortal beings hunting down one another and collecting more power. The time-jumping film, with its "There Can Be Only One" tagline, spawned 4 sequels and 3 TV series, including the popular USA series starring Adrian Paul. Queen memorably provided the soundtrack for the original movie. Now, those that are producing the reboot are Joshua Davis, who did The Fast and the Furious, producer Neil H. Mortis, Stileski himself through his 8711, so that's good, and Louise Rosner. So the current draft of the screenplay is by Mike Finch. The late Peter S. Davis, producer of the original Highlander, initiated development on the new film, so that's really nice to hear as well. I think that's great. And Summit first acquired the remake rights to the original in 2008. So, yeah, this is really good. I mean, I don't think we know who is actually going to be playing Connor McLeod. People are assuming it's Cavill. And you know what? Everyone's probably right. But I am of the opinion that I'd love to see Cavill take on the Kurgan role. Because I think that would be a really interesting sort of, just an interesting change of direction for him as an actor. I reckon he'd be great as that, and it would be a very different role for him. So there you go, officially a go, looking at a 2024 shooting date, so very, very soon. What do you guys think? Some good news for a change. Let me know down below. Take care. Bye-bye now.